Okay.
Alright, so we're going to be starting Hilchos Deis, Parak Aleph, Halacha Aleph. So here the Rambam is going to talk about personality types. That's how it starts. It's very interesting.
Wow.
Deis harbe yesh lechol echad ve'echem ibnei adam. See, usually you say that this guy has a deya, he has an opinion. Over here it's more than just an opinion, but it's basically these people have a personality and they have a more than just a worldview, but this is how the people are made up. This is what they're all about. So deis harbe yesh lechol echad ve'echem ibnei adam. There are many different types of deis, all different types of people. The zu mishonu mizu. There are some that are very different than others, and then there's some that are total opposites.
Wow.
You have a kind of person that he's constantly getting angry. He's a Baal Chema. He's somebody that's angry inside. So his anger, there's certain kinds of people that they could get angry, but they keep the anger inside. Mm-hmm. And that's a trick, right?
That's not healthy though.
So I looked into that, if it's true or not. I saw some research, and it's not really any different.
Wow, really?
You feel like it's not healthy because inside it's too much.
Pent up.
Yeah. But then there's people that they mamish don't get angry. Then you have a person that his mind is completely settled and nothing can shake him. He's calm as a cucumber and nothing can shake him up. And he doesn't get angry. And if he does get angry, he'll get a little bit angry once every couple of years, you know. And we all know people like this. We all know the Baal Chema.
Right.
You know, you leave the window open, you leave the window closed. Your chair is here, your chair is there. And then you have the other guys like he just sitting there like watching you like you fell from the moon. Like what's wrong with you? You know. You have people that are very haughty. They're very into themselves. They have a big ego, we would say today.
Right.
If somebody that's very humble and very low key. You have a person, he's always running after the pleasures of the world. He can never fulfill his taivas. He's always running after the next taiva. You know, there's a Ramban in Chumash, and we're seeing it today. I don't want to get into this too much. There's a Ramban in Chumash that says that after, he's talking about society, it sounds like, but after, my Rebbe always says it's over. After we give in to all the normal taivas, we start doing all kinds of not normal taivas. And if you look at what's going on today, I mean, you shouldn't look,
World,
but
right.
There's so many not normal taivas going on.
Nuts.
It's mamish mishuga.
Crazy world.
Yeah. Miyeshu bal leiv tahor. If someone is very pure heart, me'oid v'lo yisava afilu l'dvar ma'atim shaguf tzarich lehem, and he doesn't even have a taiva for the most basic necessities of life. Only sleeps with one pillow. You know, doesn't want to eat. You know, doesn't eat certain things because you know. I don't. You know, I want to be part. I don't need to give in to every taiva that I have. Right? You know, tinus arrives. You know, you don't eat like the last bite of the thing. Right? There's such a thing. You know.
Say, by the way, that's fasting. That's considered that.
Yeah, it comes from 100%.
The person doesn't eat that last, right?
Yeah.
And Harambam says, we're going to see whether we see it or not. He says that a person should only eat half or a third of their plate or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to get to Mr. Shem. I think that's Parak Dalet or so.
Okay.
It's in a while. And you have another guy that he's not going to be satisfied from all the money in the world. He always wants more. It's not enough. Always, you know, you just had like the people kvetching about it, you know?
Right.
I saw he had it, you know, I want it, and this one, and that one, and you know, and there's people that are like this.
So he's going to say is Ohev
Shenemar Ohev Kesef Leis Ba Kesef.
Right.
Because the person loves money and he's never satisfied with the money.
Right.
It's interesting because this is the only one that the Rambam brings a pasuk for. Just notice that. V'yesh b'katzar nafshay shedaya afilu dvar ma'at shelo yasbek loi v'lo yirdev lahasa kol tzarkei. You have a person that for him he has very little. He only needs very little stuff. And afilu davar ma'at shelo yasbek loi v'lo yirdev lahasa kol tzarkei. He needs very little, but he doesn't bother. He doesn't bother going after it. I'm good.
He needs very little, but he doesn't exert himself.
Right. V'yeshu mesagev atzmei berov. I mean, he needs very little, and he's fine if he doesn't get everything that he wants.
So is that considered? Oh, okay, but that's considered a positive in that case.
The Rambam didn't say anything positive or negative yet.
We don't know yet. Okay.
We don't know yet.
We have to interpret this.
We gotta wait a while for that.
Okay.
V'yeshu mesagev atzmei berov. And then you have somebody that he pains himself with hunger, v'kovetz al yadai, and he collects a lot of money. Meaning he never spends anything. So he always had. Of course he works. He's the hardest worker of them all.
Right.
Right. He doesn't spend a penny of his own. It's a fascinating story that I have. I don't want to go into too many details, but I know a guy, an older guy, who wasn't so well, and he passed away. He passed away under very unfortunate circumstances, and I knew the people that were involved in the will. The guy looked like he took his clothing out of a garbage can.
Wow.
He didn't change. He didn't get new clothing probably 40, 50 years. He was sitting on he was sitting on hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And it was just like, this guy has so much money. Buy yourself a presentable looking shirt. Don't buy a fancy shirt. Buy a $10 shirt that just looks presentable. No. Never spent any money. Would always go eat in local shuls.
No.
Yeah. I knew this person.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then you have another guy, he blows it on a kiddush. And, there's two sides to each thing. So in any one of the days, any one of the kinds of personality types, you can mehulal, a person who's praiseworthy, meaning he's a good person, vainin, or a person that's very sensitive, very easily pained. Vikili is a person who's stingy. Yeshua, person that's helpful and easygoing. Va'achzari, somebody that's cruel. Rachamon, or somebody that's merciful, is compassionate. V'rach levav, and soft-hearted, right? Yamid slave, a person that's tough. Ukayotzeban, and all these kinds of things. What's the Rambam trying to do here? What's happening?
He's giving us a setup. All the different types of personalities, or the rabbi's asking rhetorically, but I'm going to try to answer anyway. He's giving us a setup, all the different types of personalities, and I guess he's setting the stage. Let's see what he's setting the stage.
He's setting the stage, right? That's what he's setting the stage for. But a couple of things that we have to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. We would call this, if it would be up to us, we would call what the Rambam is talking about midas, right? What's a midah? A midah is a measurement. So I think Reb Tzadok says this, if I'm not mistaken, that the reason why it's called a midas, it's not because it's good, and it's not because it's bad. The Rambam didn't say anything about good, the Rambam didn't say anything about bad. Yes, exist in the world a Baal Chema. Yes, Yesh exists in the world of Gval Lev. And you have a Rach Levav, and you have a guy who spends money, you have a guy who doesn't spend money, right? At the end of the day, just about all of this can be used for the good. Fascinating thing. Reb Chaim Kidowitz, my Rebbe, he says, you learn Reb Tzadok, you see he's mamish a doctor. He has a refuah for just about any kind of problem. A person is a Baal Chema, a person is a kaiser, a person gets angry easily. That means he's very passionate, he gets very, very worked up about things. So you should get worked up about the right things. Kas, everybody agrees is a bad thing, right? But you can, the Gemara says, the Gemara says in Pagabach Menuvel Zem Shchela Beis Medrash. If the Menuvel, the Yetzer Hara, starts up with you, slap him to the Beis Medrash. But when you slap him to the Beis Medrash, leave him outside the Beis Medrash and come in and learn. No, but the pshat is that you use the kayach, use the forces that you have within you to utilize them for kedusha, for good desire, right? And that's why it's called midas, and that's what the Rambam calls it deis, because this is what we have, So the question is, why is this person a Baal Chema, and why is that person a Baal Gaiva, right? Was he born this way? Did he? Was this nature or nurture, right? How does this happen?
Come from?
A great Maisa. I was by my brother Sheva Brachas, and my son was very little then. He was a couple of months old, and my grandfather's a pediatrician for about 50 years. So my grandmother, my father's mother, asked my grandfather. I was holding my son, or somebody was holding him, and I said, "Look at this kid smiling." Like my grandmother said, it's just not fair to some people that just the way they are, and you see that. You have a guy that Reb Aaron Kotler was a born genius, right? The emes says even if he wouldn't, he would have been a genius anyways, right? Without getting into all the details of the story, Rav Hutner one time told him a ma'isa about somebody that was working, that the learning was very difficult for him, and it was very hard for him to learn. And Rav Aaron was crying. Rav Aaron started crying. So Rav Hutner asked Rav Aaron, "Why are you crying?" He's like, "I have no idea. I'm never going to experience what that means in my life. I just don't know what that means." Somebody struggles on a Gemara. Some people are just blessed that they don't have to deal with that. That's not their nisayon. Maybe their nisayon is that they're very hot-headed. Maybe their understanding is that they're Baal Gaiva. We think every genius is the most humble person in the world.
That on the contrary, I would say.
Yeah. They got very caught up in themselves.
Sure.
It makes a lot of sense. So really, the avodah that the Rambam is going to explain to us is how we have to be miyashiv all these problems. You're good at this, but you're bad at that. You're bad at this, you're good at that. But if we say that everything has to be b'derech hamamutza, I'm giving away what the Rambam is going to say in the next couple of halachas. I think we'll notice by now. But once we know, our avodah is to figure out how to balance everything out.
Exactly. Recipe. A little bit of this, a little bit of it, and everything. The rabbi said midot. So the whole essence of midot is what measurements.
Exactly.
You have to take like a recipe. You have to take a little bit of this, a little bit of this.
You don't want
every element has its own kamut, its own midah, its own amount.
Yeah. All right. I think we'll stop here. I think we're good.
Very good.
All right.
Just getting warmed up.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem.